Hey y'all, Ramdino here, coming at you again for another Appalachian Trail community news, Thru Hiker update, and trail information. So lots of stuff going on with the AT and going out there in a Thru Hiker world, and just ton of folks out there on the trail, all having the time of their lives. Despite even the snow and the wind and the rain we've had lately, they are all just loving it. Love hearing your reports that everybody sends me back and forth from the trail out there. So if you're a Thru Hiker on the trail, please send me your reports about where you're on the trail. I won't let everybody know exact positions just for hiker safety, but please, by all means, let me know how things are going. Give me some trail information on what's going on, so those coming behind you, or even flip-floppers coming down from the south, we'll know what the kind of trail conditions are out there. All that's very helpful information. Let's go ahead and talk about who's out there on the trail. So we have got Aquaman. He is our first Sobo of the year, and he is had the great collision there with Secretariat. Secretariat, of course, has blown past him. He's blown past Secretariat, and now he is through the shanties. Had said that he ran into a little bit of snow then in the shanties, and he's also ran into just a few nobos. So he hasn't hit really that leading edge of the bubble. He's hit a few folks that have started earlier than most, but the bubble is yet to come for him. So take a hike. He's made it to Neal's Gap. Lazarus has made it to Irwin, Tennessee. Lucky Moon has also been trail angelaring. I don't know if that's a word or not, but that's what she's doing. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. She's been out there doing trail angeling work as she's been doing her through hike out there, and she's back on trail and moving towards Irwin. Spotter is around Hiawassee. Popeye has made it to the Knock. Blaze Dog and Tori, they have made it as far as the crossing there over the interstate of I-81 in Virginia. Bricks has made it to Roan as of today, one of my favorite sections there. Georgia had to get off due to some injuries there in Gatlinburg, but is getting back on. She indicates that the Fontana Marina had a great hiker supply there, plenty of selections, so she indicated that's a great place to go and resupply, and that's at the marina there, right when you come across the road there coming into kind of the Fontana area. It's the last road crossing right before you get to the Hilton there. She did indicate that there was a bear at the Fontana Dam. A lot of people have seen that and said that the Smokies are extremely muddy. I've heard that from more than one person. She also wanted to give a shout out to Mike, who was her shuttle driver while she was around that area, and said she highly recommends him. And she also recommends the Bearskin Lodge there in Gatlinburg. She said those folks there were fantastic. So thanks a lot for that, Georgia. Crinkles and Snoop Dogg there with Fresh Ground around Station 19E, and Fresh Ground has moved on up into Grayson above the Grayson Highlands there above Damascus. Atfoot is on his Sobo flip-flop, and he reports that there is the Quarry Gap shelter there around Nobo Mile 1087 has sustained some injuries, and we're going to talk about that here in a few minutes. Outback is on he was also on the ECT. Currently, he's on the AT treadway, and he is in the Grayson Highlands area. Mule and Rich and Inchworm, they had to get off to some injuries, so they're south of Neal's, but should be getting back on after a quick rehab. Rick and Sherry, they have finished the Smokies and should be closing in on Hot Springs. Pale Rider has made it to Neal's Gap. Letterman and Spoons, they have made it to Damascus, so they look like they're out there having a blast. Brittany, she got checked into Amicalola Falls State Park and should be around Neal's Gap. Platinum and Nando, they got started on their platinum flip-flop, Sobo flip-flop. And by platinum, I mean they are platinum blazing. So they are doing all of the trail, but they are staying only in hostels, not really staying on the trail anywhere. So that's called in the vernacular platinum blazing. In other words, you're spending a bunch of money on your through hike. So, you know, hike your own hike. That's cool. If that is definitely a method of doing that. They started at Luray, Virginia, and they had made it to Stanimals Hostel. Jer Bear, who I met on the trail, should be somewhere around the Knock. Shade should be around the Knock. Come along, Little Chap and Disco, they are on their way to Fontana. Numbers, Puffer, and Hannah, They are just a few hours, maybe a day in front of them, and they are on their way to Fontana as well. It's just John and Trinket. They have crossed over the 300-mile mark, and they are going to be in Irwin any day now. The Breeze, he's made it through the Triple Crown. Triple Crown being there at Diamonds or Dragon's Tooth, McAfee Knob, and Tinker Cliffs. Lost Johnny, Trippy, World Record, and Fireball, they have made it to Newfound Gap. Radioactive and Sparky, they have made it to Damascus, Virginia, on their way to Grayson Highlands. Chatterbox and Straps, they're around the Damascus area. Rodney and Rocksteady, they are out of the Smokies on their way to Hot Springs. And they said in the Smokies, they ran into below freezing temps and snow flurries. Groceries is almost halfway done with the Smokies after enduring 18 degrees with temperatures with high winds. Preston, he has stepped off, and he was number 1939 at Amicalola Falls State Park, bag tag number. So we are almost at 2,000. Bobby and Clay, they should be somewhere around Dix Creek Gap. Tennessee should be on his first leg of the Smokies. Papa Bear, who is doing the Bama to Baxter World Tour, made it to Springer and is now on the AT. Dandelion, she's on her way to Irwin. Doug and Donna, they made it to the trail, and they had some pretty nice pack weights of 18 and 19 pounds, including food. Don't know if that included water or not, but still including food, that's pretty awesome. Strider and Big Smiles, they should be around Franklin. Billy Goat and Tabasco, they are in the Smokies. Secretariat, he should be out of Connecticut in a day or so. Donna Woody, he's made it to the trail. Bobby G made it to Neal's, and Elias, he is north of Sugar Grove, Virginia. So folks out there, send me your updates. Let me know how things are going, and let me know what kind of trail conditions folks behind you can expect. And send in me any kind of info you think would benefit those behind you. Had a few folks that have gotten off trail over this past week. Sarge and Squares, they're off. Grasshopper got off due to some knee issues. Sweet Tea is off. So folks out there continue to tell me that other folks are getting off, so I don't have the names of everybody that's gotten off, but it seems like a lot of people are getting off due to injury. A lot of people are getting off they're just ready to get off, and their hike is complete. So if you know someone that's gotten off, let me know who they are, or more importantly, if you're getting off, let me know who you are, and that way I can let folks out there know, especially if you're updating to social media, that you've gotten off, and that way you just don't drop off the face of the earth. People get word that you've gotten eaten by a bear or a cougar or something like that while you're out there. So let's just let me know, because we do care about you, we love you, and we enjoy watching you. And when you're not around, we get worried about you. So registrations, again, are starting to kind of get smaller, but they continue to climb. We are up on Nubos from 3,304 to 3,371 from last week, with a few flip-floppers added up from 159 to 173, and a few subos added up from 146 to 151. So right now, total registrations with the ATC we have is 3,695, and that's up from last year. At this time last year, the end of March, we were around 2,328. So that is up over 1,300 hikers from last year. And in 2020, which was kind of a wash because COVID was still an issue then, we were at 1,874. So we've got several hundred that are still registered to leave on this coming week, coming out of Amicalola Falls State Park. So we still got the bubble. It's still coming through. We've got 31 days that are maxed out as of this week. So that's up from 30 from last time we reported. And of course, the max out days, meaning there's more than 50 hikers on the trail. That's the carrying capacity that the ATC puts for hikers starting from Amicalola Falls State Park. 6 of those days are maxed out over next week. So we're going to continue to, over the next week, see a lot of folks getting on trail, and then we're going to start seeing a drop off in hikers that are starting their NOBO, because it's going to start getting too late. So through the month of April, flip-floppers will start picking up some, but NOBO coming out of Amicalola Falls State Park, those folks will drop off somewhat. And like I mentioned earlier, we are somewhere, should hit 2,000 today, if not already hit that. and we'll probably go over that, well over that in the next upcoming week. So the bubble position, we got a large spread out bubble. It's somewhere, of course, starting at Amicalola Falls State Park, and right now extending. I think the leading edge is somewhere around Hot Springs, maybe somewhere between Hot Springs and Irwin, but I think it's a little more closer to Hot Springs. But that's kind of where the bubble position is right now. So we got a little bit of trail news out there. Firefighters are actively, as of today, working a fire over at Hester Gap, which is east of the AT near Blood Mountain. So Blood Mountain, of course, being the first mountain that you biggest mountain you're going to come to down there in Georgia, and that's almost at mile marker 29, right before Neal's Gap. So hikers are urged to use caution, follow all directions. Posted signs from the firefighters: expect smoke. So you may get a little bit of that in your lungs, but the AT currently remains open. And then we also had a fire there near Fontana Dam, burned about 40 acres. The AT remained open. It is under control now, but there still may be some lingering smoke in that area. The Forest Service from Georgia to into Tennessee has put out red flag warnings, so that means that the conditions are right for a fire to be started out there. Uh, Maybe a little early in the season to be started by lightning. Haven't seen a lot of thunderstorms come through lately, and typically don't this time of year. But things from campfires that are not getting put out, and that has been a problem previous to this year, that will start fires. So hikers should still use caution, follow all directions, and hikers should avoid, according to the Forest Service, they've asked that you avoid making campfires and use extreme caution with camp stoves. So Grayson Highlands has gotten snow over this past week. Matter of fact, it got some today. I saw on Fresh Ground on his page where he posted, he was up at Grayson Highlands there at Massey Gap, and there was a lot of ice, a lot of snow up there, and they just got some this past night. And then talked earlier about the Quarry Gap shelter that had been damaged by a fallen tree. That's at Nobo Mile 1088. And a tree took out like half the shelter. So that particular shelter has a shelter side over here for people to sleep in. Then it has kind of a vestibule breezeway in between, and then another section over here. So it's got two different sections to it, and that tree took out one whole section. Nobody was injured to my knowledge, but it did look like that they've roped that off, so that section's not stable. Cannot use that, which cuts that down, that shelter briefly down in half. So hopefully they will get back up there and they'll be fixing that as soon as possible. And then I wanted to give just a big shout out to the hiker community in general. This past week there was a alert put out that Mischief, who is doing a thru hike this year, a lot of folks know Mischief. He is a double amputee, lost the majority of both of his feet while he was hiking due to frostbite, and he wears prosthetics, and those prosthetics are made out of carbon fiber. And of course, he is somewhere around Tennessee, and all the stress and everything he's been putting on him broke one of his prosthetics. And so there was a hiker that had experience working with carbon fiber and helped him fix that and kind of patch it up for the time being. But he desperately needed to raise a substantial amount of money, somewhere I think around $6,000, something like that. If I'm wrong about that, I'm sorry, Mischief. But in any case, he had to raise a bunch of money in order to stay on trail with some viable new prosthetics. And so the hiker community, came together. There was a Venmo account set up. You came together and you met his goal of what he needed to get him some new prosthetics. So awesome. That's just a great testimony to how neat the hiker community is, and just what a great organization that it is. And I hope more people will want to be a part of it. So thanks a lot for y'all doing that. That was a worthy cause. Mr. going to continue. He's going to use that prosthetic, the one that was fixed. He's going to use that kind of as a spare, and he's got to get off trail momentarily to get new molds made for his new ones, and then he'll be getting back on and using the temporary one in the time being until those come in. So that's keeping him on trail. And when the one that got patched up breaks, he'll have some spares on up the trail. So that is awesome to hear. And then the Far Out used to be called Gut Hook. Don't know when we're going to stop saying that, but it used to be called Gut Hook. But the Far Out app is now incorporated into it the Foothills Trail down in South Carolina. So you'll recall that I put out a couple videos where a bunch of us got together and we went and hiked the Foothills Trail. Had a great time there. Met a lot of neat people who I'm sure I'll have a lasting relationship with. And so a lot of those people are through hiking now, but great trail. I would encourage you to go and do that. If you don't want to pay gut hooks for it, there is a free version from a hiker called Peanut Butter and Spam. And I do not have the link to that version. So if somebody out there has that, or peanut butter and spam, I think you watch this channel. If you've got that, post that in the comments down there, and I'll be glad to also put it in the next description section so folks can go and find your app that you created, and then check that out. And then also, of course, you can go and find gut hooks there. And so while you're leaving a comment there about the Foothills Trail, then leave a comment just in general. Love watching your comments, love reading them, love answering all your comments. Try to get to all of those that I can. While you're doing that, give me a thumbs up. Helps me with the algorithm for more people to find this channel, and then you can help me build this channel and build the hiker community out there, and just share this channel with other like-minded individuals and help me and to build the hiker community and support the thru hikers as they go all the way throughout their track. Well, that's all I got this week. As always, appreciate you, and we'll see you out here.